Hi, this is Shambhavi. Welcome to my weekly podcast about spirituality, love, death, devotion, and waking up while living in a messy world. The Satsang with Shambhavi podcast is recorded live each week with students of our nonprofit community, Jayakula. For more information and to find out about attending a satsang, visit jayakula.org. Thanks for listening. Much love to you, wherever and however you are. Ma said, "For one who knows me, I am one with him. For one who wants to know me, I am very near to him. And for one who does not know me, I am a beggar at the door." This has always been one of my favorite Ma teachings or utterances. For one who knows me, I am one with him. It means that if you truly know the Guru, or if you truly know the essence of the form of the teacher, then you know God, and then you know yourself. If you truly know the essence of the teacher, then you know your own essence nature, and you know they're one and the same. You could also say that with respect to the formless. So if you have a full experience of living presence, you know that that is you. You know that it is your own self. So for one who knows, for one who has knowledge of the ultimate, for one who has knowledge of the supreme, for one who has that direct encounter. And Ma is the first person that I heard the phrase direct realization from, pratyaksha darshana. And then later I found it in some Trika texts, which was kind of interesting. It came at a very fortuitous time. When I was still very much a student, like you, I started a blog, really old school blog called Living Tantra. And it was just texts that I liked from the tradition, from various teachers. I didn't write any of my own stuff on that. Then eventually some time went by and I started posting a little, like a commentary on a teaching that I had posted from somebody else. Eventually I started, with some trepidation, writing some of my own stuff on there. That blog, Living Tantra, became the number one rated on Google blog about Tantra in the world. And most of the people that were coming to read that blog were people who really weren't interested in what I was doing. They were more interested in something called Neo-Tantra. So there was just a lot of traffic to the blog, people sort of showing up and going, oh, I was looking for something else. So eventually I wanted to get rid of the word Tantra. It was when Jayakula was first forming, and I was kind of on the warpath to completely get rid of the word Tantra as much as I could, so that people who would come and access what we were doing would have more of an idea of what we were doing. It wouldn't come with a lot of expectations. During that time, I found in Ma's writing this idea of direct realization, and I started calling what I was teaching and practicing direct realization practice. And then later, I also found it in Sanskrit in the writings of Abhinavagupta, and I learned the phrase pratyaksha darshana. So it was all very fortuitous and very helpful. Of course, the minute we changed from the blog being called Living Tantra to Jayakula, like 90% of our traffic fell away, which was kind of funny. And that was fine. So for one who knows me, for one who has direct realization of that living presence that is the fundament of all reality, for that person, I am one with that person. What she's saying is that having the direct perception of the real nature of the self, of all of reality, is equal to being one with it. You cannot have a direct perception of it without also, at least to some degree, feeling your continuity with it. And then obviously, ultimately, whenever that might happen, feeling completely one with that. And there's another word that's used only in Kashmir Shaivism, samavesha, which means immersion in God, samavesha. So ultimately, having known that self, one enters into samavesha, complete immersion in that, where there's no difference between yourself and that. So for one who knows me, I am one with him. Knowing is equal to recognizing the real nature of your own self. For one who wants to know me, one who has a desire to know me, I am very near to him. So when we're in this condition where we have a great desire to know the self or to know the nature of reality or to know God or to know the divine, however we say it, it doesn't really matter. As I've mentioned many times, Ma just said that. She just called God or presence that. So for one who has a strong desire but has not yet recognized fully enough knowledge of the self, for that person, I am very near. So this kind of experience is when we're having the experience of we can feel the aliveness of everything. We have an experience of presence, but it's not strong enough yet, or our concepts are still in the way. So we still think it's something outside of ourselves, or we think it's something encapsulated in ourselves, but not both. I've noticed over the years that some people feel that presence inside themselves first, and other people feel it outside themselves first. So this is being very near to the self, very near to God. And then finally she says, and for one who does not know me, I am a beggar before him. And this is the part that always kind of gets me, because what she's saying is that even if you don't know me at all, even if you don't know yourself at all, even if you are experiencing that ignorance, even if you reject me, even if you're skeptical, even if you're an atheist, even if you think all this stuff about a conscious reality is a bunch of hooey, even then I am a beggar before you. I'm always holding out my hand to you. I'm always reaching for you. I'm always there, right? I'm always available in some way or another. And I, a beggar, is someone who has a desire for something, right? So in playing the part of the beggar before you, Ma is saying, I have a desire for you to know me. And of course, this is the great open secret, which is that our desire to know God or to know the self or to know reality is actually that reality's desire to have that experience. She's saying as a beggar, I am asking you, I am always holding out my hand to you. I have a desire. I want you to know me. I want you to see me. I want you to recognize me. And the minute you experience that in yourself, you are hearing the voice of God. You're feeling the longing of God. You're feeling the desire of God. And you're in the game. So I want to read the whole thing. For one who knows me, I am one with him. For one who wants to know me, I am very near to him. And for one who does not know me, I am a beggar before him. To me, this just is the essence of the mercy and kindness of the divine, of this reality. So I wanted to open Satsang with that. And if you want to talk about that, please feel free.
The way Ma is phrasing that and the way you are saying it, you cast it in a brighter light when you say that it's her desire for us to know her. But when I just read her words, it sounds kind of dark. It sounds like, see, I have no control. Well, it's just in your part.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is the game. Because, of course, Ma knows the self already. She is that 100% awake. Right? And there's this playful imposition of ignorance of the self, which we call swatantriya. Right? Swatantriya means freedom of self-expression. And in that freedom, the Lord makes these experiences of self-limitation of someone like you who doesn't fully realize who you are. And then there's the game of wisdom in various forms addressing you. And there's the game of wisdom as your own longing and as all of the sadhanas that we have. This is not dark. It is a form of enjoyment. And you could almost say, given the ubiquitousness of this sense of a journey in human life, that it is the number one enjoyment of God. I don't know that for sure. If you think of Utpaladeva, who was one of the explicators, founders of what's called the Pratyabhijna school, the self-recognition school, one of the streams, very biggest streams that fed into what we now call Trika. He was the great, great grand guru of Abhinavagupta. And he wrote unbelievably beautiful devotional poetry. And he had the self-conception of his relationship to Shiva was as the servant. And he said in his poetry many, many times, I don't even care if I have to give up final emancipation. I just want to remain experiencing myself as your servant. That's my greatest pleasure. So that is kind of a little encapsulation of the kind of enjoyment that the Lord is having in playing the game of Ma and the student, or being a beggar at the door. It is part of this beautiful expression of that enjoyment of coming into self-knowledge. And I see the beggar part as being just full of mercy.
Yeah, it does feel that way on a deeper look.
Yeah, I mean, it could say something like, and for one who does not know me, bugger off. That's not what it says. It says, for one who does not even like me or does not believe in me, has no idea about me, I'm still here. I'm still here, waiting, begging. Right. I don't find that dark at all.
I find it a little dark just in terms of the neglect, not caring for this beggar.
Yeah.
Just there, like, hoping, waiting,
Yeah. Ma, I wouldn't say all that often, but in more than just one time, in what we have translated into English anyway, mentioned students who were very, very angry at her. One student who had left I don't think she was a sannyasin, so she wasn't like living at the ashram, but she was somehow near Ma, and she just like went off in a huff and was really mad at Ma. And Ma said, go ahead, be mad at me. No matter what you do, I'm always going to follow you around. And another time she was saying, go ahead, be mad at me. Maybe it will do you some little good. I don't think it's sad for her that people didn't recognize her. I don't think she really saw anyone as an other. So everything that was happening from her perspective was an aspect of herself just enacting that. She was like, you rejected me. We really wouldn't have the same feelings about her if that were how she acted.
Right. I guess I meant like neglect on the part of the person doing the neglect.
Yeah.
Just like the dryness and the coldness of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, loneliness.
Mm-hmm.
Loneliness is the signal quality of being trapped in karmic realm vision, and which basically means being ignorant of the nature of the self, at least partially. And the thing that all the realm vision share is loneliness, an experience of separation. To whatever extent we still have realm vision, there's an experience of separation.
Is loneliness the same thing as an experience of separation?
I don't think so, because I don't feel lonely, but I'm also not fully realized. But I think it's a big part of it for some time. Yeah.
Shambhavi?
Yes.
I mean, the way that I think about that, particularly the last line, that last line also just gets me so deeply in my heart. It really just bolsters and triggers my own longing. I really think that Ma is talking about refuge and how that refuge is always available even when we feel isolated and lonely, that is just so deeply available to us if we so choose it. And then the second thing that I think about is how there is this trend of trying to think about what inclusion and belonging mean within business, within nonprofits, within social justice. And it really seems to reflect that in terms of how do we start to dissolve the inherent separation that really impedes us from being human and connected. It just feels incredibly relevant right now. In a lot of ways, we are those beggars. I mean, Ma is almost saying that, like, you are the beggar, I am the beggar. We are both longing for that connection. It's so beautiful.
It is really beautiful. If we can be the beggar, that is such a boon. That is such grace. If we can be the beggar, right?
Yeah.
If we can get to that point where we can feel that longing, right? That is like already halfway home. But I do want to say that there is no essential separation. There is a real experience of separation. So what we are trying to do is not to reconnect, but to destroy the conceptual embodied impediments to discovering the connection that's already always there. In Zenju Earthlyn Manuel's article, Awakening Through Rage, which I think is one of the most beautiful things ever written about the interplay between our current discourses around separation and connection across identities and what she has been taught in her Zen tradition, and she's also involved in some other traditions too, about the inherent connection that's always there. And she says, we have to walk through, this is not a direct quote, but something like, we have to walk through the rage. We have to host that. We can't just ignore the embodied separation that we are experiencing. But she said, I don't want to waste my time or my life giving a lot of energy to that. She said, I want to introduce people to the greater Blackness. She's a Black teacher. And she said that what she finds to be weak about the current discourses is that everyone is already included. We talk as if people have to be included. But she said inclusion is what is inherent in reality, not separation. And I think if we can talk this way and find ways to embody that, even as we are also still hosting all of the experience of separation that we have, we can get much further to healing. And she also says something, and again, I'm putting this in my own words because I don't remember exactly what she said, but it is so close to how I feel that I think I immediately put it in my own words. But what do we have to walk through so that everyone can feel the love that is given to them? I think of this as a white teacher. What do I have to walk through so that a person of color can experience and receive the love that I feel for them? What does it take to do that? And she basically asks that same question in her own way. That already includedness of everything is also already beloved. Everything is already beloved, right? And she's in a very different location than I am. But for me, I think about that so much. And like myself, I've had a lot of experiences around identity violence, being a woman, being queer, etc. But how can we walk through that so that people can feel the love, so that they can feel already included? I don't know. I mean, that's basically what my whole life is about, trying to have that be possible for people to receive love, to receive that experience of already includedness. And I would love to see us talking about our experiences with identities, not that we are these identities, but our experiences with them, which are very real and embodied, obviously. What do we need to be able to walk through that to the already includedness, to the greater blackness, as Zenju puts it. But I just think it's so beautiful the way she expresses it.
It is. It's so radical. This really is. Yeah, some of the work that you're doing and just the awareness around that definitely makes me feel included, and that's not my experience in a lot of places.
Well, how I experience you and everybody else who's here and everybody else, it has to do with a kind of deep, deep, deep appreciation and respect and devotion. I feel devotion toward everything that's made here, and everything that's here is an aspect of, to me, Ma, because I just see everything as Ma. And that's what really brings the level of anger down too. Yeah. So I'm not fully realized, so I still have some of those things going on, of course, but step by step, crawl by crawl at different times.